Published 1846 Est. The 23rd of November. The 2017 updated 2120 Est. The 23rd of November 2017. James Bulgers' father Ralph has said his toddler son's killer should never be freed again after he was dragged back to jail over child for the second time. John Venables was arrested last week after officials making a routine visit to his home discovered the sickening images on his computer and alerted police. It is the second time that the monster, now 35, has been put behind bars for child offences, having been caught with a large hoard of images in 2010. Venables and Robert Thompson were 10 when they abducted James, 2, from outside a Merseyside butcher's before torturing and murdering him in 1993. Scroll down for video. John Venables, pictured after he was arrested as a 10-year-old, one of the killers of James Bulgers, is back in jail after being caught with child the second time. HESB recaller Ralph Bulger left in 2011. James' father said that monster Venables could kill again and should spend the rest of his life behind bars in CCTV footage that shocked a nation. Venables seen holding the toddler's hand and Thompson are seen leading James out of the shopping center and towards his death. Ralph and Denise Bulger, parents of James, during an emotional police press conference in the aftermath of his death. Ralph Bulger, James' father, said that monster Venables could kill again and should spend the rest of his life behind bars. "You can't rewire evil, and that is what he is," Mr. Bulger told The Sun. "Let him out again and he will strike again. The child abuse offences he has committed over and over as an adult are part of a very frightening build-up to him murdering another child like James. It comes after James' mother Denise accused the probation service of covering up for vile, perverted psychopath Venables. She said, "I predicted Venables would reoffend unless they kept a very tight rein on him, and I pray that now someone from the UK government will finally listen to me." Venables, now 35, was arrested last week after officials making a routine visit to his home discovered the sickening images on his computer and alerted police. John Venables is back in prison. John Venables was first released from prison in 2001, at the age of 18, and given a new identity to protect him from the risk of vigilante attacks, but he has been returned to jail twice. At the time, a psychiatrist ruled that he did not pose a danger to the public and was extremely unlikely to commit any further offences. However, he developed drinking and drugs problems, and he compromised his identity at least twice by telling friends he was a convicted murderer. When a probation officer visited his home in Cheshire in 2010 to discuss his fears that he could be in danger, he was attempting to destroy the hard drive of his computer. The hard drive was later examined by police, who discovered that it contained dozens of indecent images of children. Venables admitted that he had posed as a 35-year-old woman who had abused her 8-year-old daughter, and was returned to prison. It is the second time that the murderer has been put back behind bars, having been caught with a large hoard of child in 2010. The killer's new identity is protected by a lifelong anonymity order, and has been changed 4 times since his release in 2001, costing taxpayers £250,000 each time, and around £5 million in total has been spent trying to rehabilitate him. His arrest has led to calls for him never to be released again. And a source close to the family said the question has now to be asked whether he has finally run out of chances. The Sun reported that Venables was rushed to a maximum security prison, which cannot be identified for legal reasons. A source told the newspaper every expense has been afforded him, every expert opinion offered, every opportunity given. And yet here we are again. If he is found to have committed a new offense, then why should the public continue to pay through the nose to protect his anonymity any longer? Venables is now being held for breaching the lifelong license he and Robert Thompson were given after the brutal torture and murder of James Bulgers in 1993. Venables, who has not yet been charged with any offense, and Thompson were both 10 years old when they shocked Britain by abducting James, then just 2 years old. The crime made the boys the youngest killers in modern English history, and public enemy number 1 with millions of Brits. The duo snatched Bulger from outside a butcher's shop in Bootle, Merseyside, in 1993, while his mother popped into a store for just a few seconds. The toddler's mutilated body was found on a railway line in Walton, Liverpool, 2 days later. Venables and Thompson were found guilty of killing Bulger in November 1993 and were sentenced to custody until they reached 18. Ralph Bulger's solicitor reads out a prepared statement following a parole hearing at Liverpool Crown Court for John Venables in 2011. The parents of James Bulger left Denise Ferguson, Ralph Bulger Wright, in 1996, said they were filled with terror by the decision to grant parole to Venables. In 2013, Thompson and Venables became public enemy number one during the trial into James' death. An angry crowd are pictured remonstrating as the pair arrive at court. The crime made Thompson pictured and Venables the youngest killers in modern English history. CCTV footage shows the final moments of James Bulger's life, as he is led to a railway track by John Venables and Robert Thompson. They were freed in 2001 after serving 8 years behind bars, but by 2010 Venables was back in prison for violating the terms of his release by possessing child. It was revealed that he had downloaded and distributed more than 100 images of child abuse, some involving victims as young as 2 being raped. In one instance, he messaged another paedophile claiming to be a married mother who abused her 8-year-old daughter, and offered to sell access to the child. He was freed from prison for the second time in 2013 after a recommendation from the parole board. At the time, Denise and Ralph Bulger said they were filled with terror by the decision to grant parole to Venables. During the highly publicized trial in 1993, it was Robert Thompson who the prosecution painted as the ringleader. In fact, a report by famed psychiatrist Sir Michael Rutter released said Venables posed a trivial risk to the public should he be released. But while Venables quickly reoffended after getting out of prison, Thompson set about starting a quiet life in the Northwest, having impressed prison officials with his talents in art. He also took A-levels while behind bars and ended up in a stable relationship with another man. The pair are banned from contacting each other under the terms of their release. Thompson is thought to have stuck to the terms of the license, so details of his new life have never been revealed in court. Reports surfaced in 2005 that he was addicted to heroin, while a childhood friend claimed to have bumped into him while he was working as a steward at a major sporting event in the northwest of England. Mr. Bulger said it is only a matter of time before he caves into his lust for young children again. John Venables is and always was a predatory killer who will never be changed. He will always be a danger to children, which is why he must be locked up for life. After Venables' conviction for child, a review discovered he had regularly breached a condition of his original release that he must not go back to Merseyside. The probe said he would certainly have been returned to jail sooner if officials had known his movements, which could have been monitored by a satellite tag. Under strict rules put in place following his release from prison, the murderer has lifelong anonymity, meaning anyone he speaks to will not know about his past. Only a tight-knit cabal operating under conditions of extreme secrecy are allowed to know who he really is. Under the terms of his lifelong license, 1 or 2 senior probation officers regularly visit Venables to ensure he is adhering to the conditions of his release. The terms include a ban on traveling to Merseyside, and he also faces restrictions on accessing the internet. Venables was given his first new identity when he was jailed in 1993, and a second when he was released from a sentence of indefinite imprisonment in 2001, aged 18. In May 2011, his name and background was changed once again after a serious breach in the security of the identity he had been using. In 2013, officials said they would not give him another identity because he could not be trusted to keep it secret. But they were forced to change their minds amid mounting fears for his safety if he is ever outed. Pictures purporting to be of Venables were circulated on the internet in 2013, despite an injunction granting him lifetime anonymity. The toddler's mutilated body was found on a railway line in Walton, Liverpool, 2 days after he was abducted. The canal in Bootle, Merseyside, where it is thought John Venables and Robert Thompson threatened to throw James Bulger in as they toyed with how to torture him. The duo snatched Bulger from outside a butcher's shop shown in Bootle, Merseyside, in 1993, while his mother popped into a store for just a few seconds. 1993, February 12, 2-year-old James Bulger is snatched during a shopping trip to the Strand shopping centre, in Bootle, Merseyside. February 14, the toddler's battered body is found by children playing on a freight railway line 200 yards from Walton Lane Police Station, Liverpool, and more than 2 miles from the Strand shopping centre. February 18, John Venables and Robert Thompson, both 10-year-olds, are arrested in connection with the murder of James, and later charged. They are the youngest to be charged with murder in the 20th century. February 22, there are violent scenes outside South Sefton Magistrates Court in Bootle, when the two primary school pupils, then known as Child A and Child B, make their first appearance. November 24, Robert Thompson and John Venables, now both aged 11, are convicted of James Bulgers' murder following a 17-day trial at Preston Crown Court. They are ordered to be detained at Her Majesty's pleasure, the normal substitute sentence for life imprisonment when the offender is a juvenile. 1994 July, the 8-year sentence tariff set by the trial judge, which has already been increased to 10 years by Lord Chief Justice Lord Taylor of Gosforth, is increased again to 15 years by the Home Secretary Michael Howard. 1997 June, the Law Lords rule by a majority that Mr. Howard has acted illegally in raising the boys' tariff. 1999 March, the European Commission on Human Rights finds that Thompson and Venables were denied a fair trial and fair sentencing by an impartial and independent tribunal. 2000 March, Home Secretary Jack Straw says he will not set a date for Thompson and Venables' release. October, Lord Chief Justice Lord Wolfe reinstates the trial judge's original tariff, paving the way for their release. 2001 January, James Bulgers' killers win an unprecedented court order from High Court Judge Dame Elizabeth Butler-Sloss, which grants them anonymity for the rest of their lives. June, Thompson and Venables are freed under new identities. 2008 September, Venables is arrested on suspicion of a fray after he and another man become involved in a drunken street fight. He is given a formal warning by the probation service about breaching the good behavior expected of him as a condition of his license. Later the same year, he is cautioned for possession of cocaine after he was found with a small amount of the Class A drug, which was said to be for personal use. The public remains unaware of both offences until 2010. 2010 March 2, Venables is returned to prison after breaching the terms of his release, the Ministry of Justice says. It kickstarts frenzied media speculation over the nature of the alleged breach. April 16, prosecutors handed a police file over the latest allegations. June 21, a judge at the Old Bailey lifts media restrictions, allowing it to be reported that Venables has been charged with downloading and distributing childography. July 23, Venables pleads guilty to the charges. He is sentenced to 2 years in prison. James Bulgers' mother Denise Fergus attacks the length of sentence as simply not enough. July 30, a judge rules Venables' new identity must be kept secret because of the compelling evidence of a threat to his safety, saying unpopular defendants had as much right to protection from retribution as anyone else. 2013 April 26, 2 users of social media who breached the injunction banning the revelation of the new identities of Venables and Thompson received suspended jail sentences. July 4, sources reveal Venables has been granted parole.